Did you ever have a moment in your life so perfectly designed, so perfectly timed that it felt impossible to be random? Well, if you had, you might want to stay here because today we're going to talk about the mechanics of synchronicity. Hello everyone, my name is Doris Victoria, your soul empowerment and conscious millionaire coach. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to extend a warm thank you for all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, for being here with me. So let us all grow together into the amazing souls that we already are, but we have forgotten that we are. So Carl Jung was the first, he was a neo-Freudian psychologist, and he was the first to come up with the term of synchronicity. And he called it, wait, I have it written down here. He called synchronicity to be a meaningful coincidence or meaningful coincidences that are not causally or randomly related, but seem to be connected. Now, isn't that interesting? We are going through the shift right now here on planet Earth, as you all might very well aware of, because otherwise you wouldn't be here with me. We are going through this amazing and profound shift here on planet Earth that has never happened before. And that shift is all about spiritual evolvement, spiritual evolution, becoming conscious of who we are, remembering our beauty, remembering our power, remembering who we are. And who we are really, and I have talked about this many times in my past videos, you might want to go back and watch some of those. I have talked about how we are all a beautiful soul. The soul part of us is the part that never dies. It is the part that never changes. It is the part that changes in a sense that it keeps evolving. It keeps, in a way, becoming more conscious as we're dropping karma, as we're dropping all the old stuff from our shoulders, or, things from our Akashic records. But the soul is the part that never changes. And our souls are not entirely. The soul is something. It is a light so bright, so big, that it is never totally in a physical body. It is a part of the soul is in our physical body, whereas the other part of the soul is still on the other side of what we call the veil. The veil being the kind of like illusionary imagination of separation. It is the other side where there's oneness, where we are all one, where we are all connected, where there's joy, where there's love, where there's peace, where there's celebration all the time, where there's the angel's lullaby that we will hear all the time. So one part of our soul, actually, the light that is us, is in our physical body. It is inhabiting, it is breathing, giving life to this physical body that we chose. And at the same time, it is connected to all the other souls. It is part of a bigger. It is still going all the way behind the veil, behind the illusion of separation, as I said. And as we are all souls, every human being is an amazing soul here on earth. Some of us are more aware of it. Some of us have not even remembered that we are a soul, first and foremost, and then we are the physical body. So as we are all these beautiful souls, and those souls kind of like, are bigger than our physical bodies, those souls connect at the behind the veil level. So you can think of it like a oneness, like a unity of souls. And the answers are all there. And above all that, part of this beautiful light above all that is source, or what we call God, source, whatever you want to call it. So it's such an amazing concept. Again, back to Carl Jung, who called synchronicity, who was the first to come up with this term. And I think he was really off to something. And now we are becoming more and more aware that as we become more conscious here on earth, as we are evolving spiritually, especially us old souls, if you're an ancient souls, and I'm sure you are, because as I said, otherwise you wouldn't be here, but thank you so much for being here. So as we are all, as old souls, we are the first usually to become aware of those new energies and then kind of like integrating it and then transmitting it to humanity. This is our part here on earth. We are kind of like the light pillars, and it doesn't matter where you are right now, it doesn't matter where you're going through, you know, if you know that you're an old soul, you will feel it. You will feel that there's something way more that we have been taught that there is, or that society wants us to believe that there is. So synchronicity, divine synchronicity, I want to share you a story, a beautiful story from a dear friend of mine who walked the Camino, also known as the Camino of St. James, you know, the Camino de Santiago de Compostela. It is this pilgrimage path that goes from, I think it starts in France or North Africa and goes all the way to Santiago de Compostela. And I have many, many friends who were walking it. And one of my friends, at one point, she was walking all alone. She was hungry. The only thing that she had was water, but she was carrying her little, her little cooker in her backpack. And she was walking and she felt like, I really need a potato. I feel like I need a potato. All the restaurants, all the places that she walked by, little tiny shops on that Camino, they were all closed that day and she didn't find anything. And yet she really felt like she needed a potato that day. She wanted to have a potato soup or something. And she found, like some greens as well that she wanted to put in a soup. And she was like, wouldn't it be nice to have a potato right now? And she was walking and she was just continuing to walk because, part of her, and here is the challenge, the linear part of us, the mind, cannot comprehend what is happening on an energetic quantum level. And yet, because we are connected with all the other souls, with Source, through our light, answers are always there. And so she kept walking and she was just, she had this thought about the potato and then she let it go and then she was just focusing on the beauty around her and on how she felt and what kind of like intuitions she had while walking the path. Well, all of a sudden, she sees a big potato on the side of the road. And it was just one. There was no more. It was just one big potato that was on the side of the road. And she was like, this is impossible. Do I dream that or is that really true? Well, she picked that potato up. She cooked her soup with the greens that she harvested earlier from Mother Earth. And she told me that that was the most amazing potato soup with the greens that she ever had. And she will never forget it. And this is how it works, my dear ones. If our mind gets in between our wishes or desires, it will interfere because the mind is always like, oh no, this is not possible. This is not possible. How will you find a potato here? I mean, the magazines are all closed. How will you ever find a potato? Okay, unless you see a field where somebody's growing potatoes, but forget about it. So the mind is always kind of like reasoning, And yet, synchronicity is always happening. Or you might know the story with the parking place. So the mind is always trying to make sense in a linear way. And yet, we are not linear beings. We are quantum, multidimensional beings spiraling, as I shared with you in the last video. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Keep growing, beautiful soul. And why don't you share a beautiful synchronicity that you have experienced in your life that felt just too perfectly timed, synchronized, orchestrated to be random? Share it in the comments below, please. Let us empower each other to remember who we are and why we're here. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And about the parking place, this is the last that I want to mention. For those of you using that quantum system, as I call it, the oneness, the unity with all that is, where all the answers lie. And if we're trusting that system, that's when synchronicities can happen in our life. As I said, trusting is the basics. The mind cannot trust, because the mind will come up with all ways of why it is not possible. But if you just trust and you know that there is a bigger system to support you, you will always find what you need. And it might come up in a different form as you have expected. It might come up in a different voice, in a different gender, in a different form, whatever, you know. But it is always there. So for the parking places, for those of you using the system, I want to share that with you because I'm doing this since years and it always works out. So when I'm trying to find a parking lot in a very, very busy area, and I've been running around and I saw that all the spots were taken, usually what I do is I close my eyes, put my hand on my heart, or you know, you can reach out, whatever feels comfortable for you, and then you're just like, help me to find my parking spot. I need assistance finding my parking spot now. Thank you. Or something like this, you know, you just phrase it the way you want it. And as I said that, my video is 11:11 long. Amazing. So, and then you will just have an intuition that will guide you to, you know, you might drive around a little bit, but your intuition will guide you. Maybe you have to turn left and then right, or maybe you have to turn right and then left. And just in front of you, somebody will pull out of the parking lot, or you will find an empty space there, or whatever it is. But the system always works. So remember, beautiful soul, that you are never alone, that we are all connected. We are all in this quantum soup of love together. We are all one. We're here to support each other. And as I said, believe in the magic of the quantic world, and you will find yourself in situations that you would have never expected to be possible. Beautiful situations that are always meant for you to grow further, or to remember even more who you are and why you are here. So with this, my dear ones, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you again for liking, for subscribing, for those of you that are new here. And thank you for leaving a comment in the comment section below and sharing with me or us your moment where you felt like this was divinely orchestrated. That was not random. I'm looking forward to read your comments. All my love, and I see you in the next video. Mwah! Bye.